Thanks for joining us. I'm Robert Holden. There's a municipal election this fall in Yellowknife. Some say the city is facing a turning point with billions in upcoming federal spending and diamond mines winding down. Sarah St. Pierre breaks down why the next mayor and council will have big challenges ahead and some opportunities.
This time last year, Yellowknife's future looked bleak. Diamond mines were winding down, and there was no obvious next economic driver to replace them. But since then, the city has received some major news, like billions in promised defense spending and major projects backed by the federal government. It'll be up to the city's next mayor and council to navigate the opportunities and challenges that will come with that.
When we look out medium to long term, our outlook is potentially quite positive, though we shouldn't kid ourselves. We're definitely entering a period of turmoil where it's not simply a move your labor and capital from one industry into another. It seldom works that way.
All the construction work to build infrastructure with federal dollars could be good for the local economy, but some say that's not where the real opportunity lies. It's in what kind of industry could grow from building a road through the mineral-rich area north of Yellowknife and doubling the territory's hydro capacity.
What type of economy do we want to have in the future? Because we're at that early stages, and this election will determine the people that will start answering that question. And we're hoping that they'll have a vision that will see us as a net contributor who are in control of its own economic destiny. We have the resources and the potential to do that.
But growing the economy will take more workers, and Yellowknife is dealing with a severe housing shortage and a lack of city land to build on. Yellowknife's current mayor thinks addressing housing will be the top issue for whoever succeeds him.
We need to be conscious of that will take land that we cherish deeply. So the conversation needs to shift from absolutely not, nowhere, never, forever, to how do we do this in a way that's responsible from a future perspective for people who need homes while respecting the things that people love about Yellowknife.
Hendrickson won't seek re-election as mayor, but said he intends to run for a seat on city council. The election is set for October 19th. Sarah St. Pierre, CBC News, Yellowknife.
The city of Yellowknife has set a date for a public hearing on its draft community plan. It will set the city's policy direction for growth and development over the next 25 years and will lay out how land is used and what kind of housing gets prioritized. The draft passed first reading at City Council yesterday. Residents have until September 2nd to send in written submissions, or they can comment in person at the hearing. It's set for 4:30 p.m. on September 9th at City Hall. Staying in the NWT, Inuvik Gas will be allowed to raise natural gas prices starting September 1st, but the increase will only be by $6 per gigajoule compared to the $10 the company originally proposed. It's the first increase in gas prices since 2012, and it's also an interim refundable rate until the board can come to a final decision on the company's rate proposal. In a letter from today, the Public Utilities Board says it received complaints from the public and a request from the town of Inuvik to consider a full review of the rate proposal. The board says it needs time to consider more information about the rate review submitted by the company. The Yukon Food Bank says more people than ever are using its services, and there's no signs of slowing. CBC's Grace Knapp has more.
The food bank saw a new record number of users every month for the last 5 months. About 23,000 people used the food bank in all of 2025. This year, by August, they already reached 20,000. The executive director says demand is not the only indicator of hard times.
Also, like donations, we're seeing it already. Yukoners are generous, but they're having to start make tough choices, and their ability to donate isn't what it used to be. Everyone's got to pay their own grocery bill, everyone's got to pay their own rent. And so we're very understanding, but we are worried about how things are going to come in the future.
Blotner says the food budget was stretched thin by May, leaving 3 months before the next fiscal year restarts in September. But he says it's hard to budget for an exponential amount of mouths to feed. The administrative manager at the food bank says food supply is closely tied to national and international events.
Yeah, any changes or ripple effects, like we really do feel that. It does make things challenging in terms of like food sourcing, because I know a lot of the food comes up and down across borders. We don't necessarily directly buy from the States, but we're all connected. The food systems are all connected.
Park says one way U.S. tariffs already affected operations was the price of metal. It made supplying canned goods more expensive. They say they will do what they can to keep people fed. The food bank now services 10 communities across the territory. The newest branch opened up in Ross River this year. Grace Knapp, CBC News, Whitehorse.
The next operator of the Whitehorse Emergency Shelter has been confirmed, but questions remain about how the shelter will be run and its potential location. Dana Hatherley has more.
Stephen Mills says the 405 Alexander Street Committee decided July 6th to extend Connective's contract. He says the committee's looking at how the shelter is run with the goal to make it better and keep saving lives.
What we do recognize is that there may be other services, and there are other services that are coming online in the downtown Whitehorse area that do potentially will be able to provide some services that are currently being accessed through at 405. So I think that there might be some natural shifts in how programs are delivered, but not as we're not part of a discussion on moving the emergency shelter to another location.
The Yukon government is talking about relocating the shelter. Social Services Minister Brad Cather says he wants feedback from the public regarding this and other aspects of the shelter's future. The new contract includes a line about substance use.
It clearly sets out exactly what is expected under the current contract provisions. And again, that is aimed at protecting the safety of everyone who's being to access the facility, avoiding the situation where somebody would be allowed to consume alcohol or drugs in the facility, but making it clear that intoxication alone is not something that prevents someone from accessing the facility.
Cather says it's up to operators to enforce the rules. Dana Hatherley, CBC News, Whitehorse.
The NWT government is reviewing calls to improve health care in the Deschaux after 3 deaths in the region prompted a months-long investigation. The new recommendations cover everything from staffing to equipment, as well as a move towards strengthening virtual care. But some community members and leaders aren't sure leaning more on technology is the right move. Natalie Pressman has been following that story. She joins us now in studio. Natalie, take us back to what led to this investigation.
Well, as you mentioned, in early 2025, 3 people in the Deschaux died, and their family members and some NWT politicians said that those deaths were preventable and are an example of inequity between health facilities in larger centers and smaller Indigenous communities. So in March 2025, MLAs passed a motion in the legislature calling for an investigation into what happened.
And what did that investigation find?
The findings themselves are confidential. The health department said that they have sensitive medical information that it can't disclose, but there were a number of recommendations that came out of it. Those recommendations are fairly broad and suggest things like staffing minimums for health centers and equipment. It talks about clarifying after-hours roles for staff and getting set up for video appointments and virtual care. And that would mean stable internet, equipment like a camera, and people who know how to use that technology.
And I understand you spoke with a number of people in the region. What did you hear?
Well, the biggest thing that I heard is that there just aren't enough staff. So there's this understanding that creative solutions might be necessary. But Deschaux Grand Chief Herb Norwegian said he wants to focus on building trust within the community. He talked about encouraging young people in the region to go to school, to become doctors and nurses and psychologists, to be able to work in their communities. But you know, he says that's time and money that a lot of people just don't have. So for him, prioritizing good relationships should be the focus. And he says he doesn't think virtual care is a good long-term solution. He says, you know, you would need people with the right technical skills in the community, and that could be hard to find. Plus, he worries that relying on technology for medicine could be risky.
The last thing that you want to do is you're right in the middle of dealing with one of our people here when you got the Zoom on or virtual, however you're doing it, and all of a sudden the damn thing craps out on you.
It's worth mentioning that the Northwest Territories Health and Social Services Authority does have an option for patients to book phone or video calls for certain appointments, but that's at home versus an appointment that would happen at the health center.
And what did other people you spoke to have to say about building up virtual care?
Yeah, well, I spoke with Joachim Bonatrouge, who, as you know, is a former chief of Fort Providence, and he wasn't so sure about it either. He says he thinks it would be challenging for older community members in particular, and like Norwegian, he thinks that in-person care is best. He did talk about how care in Fort Providence is pretty good, and that's because they've had the same healthcare workers there for years.
If you have longer term nurses that are committed to the community and they've committed to the people, and there's a certain amount of confidence, I guess, with the people in the community that they will be receiving the best care, no matter what time of the day.
And Natalie, did you speak with anyone that thought it would be a good idea?
Well, I spoke with a professor of health services and policy at the University of British Columbia, and he agrees it's not ideal, but says if the territory can't staff these facilities, then, now we're talking about second best options. So he says it's easier to find people with the skills to man virtual appointments than bringing in a doctor or a nurse into the community. And he says it's a good tool to monitor chronic conditions like diabetes or to check in about new symptoms to know if a patient should travel to a larger center.
Okay, so now these new recommendations are out. What is the government going to do with them?
It's a good question. I did ask the Minister of Health for an interview to ask her that as well. She declined while her and the department review the recommendations, but nothing in them is binding. And according to a former health minister, Julie Green, that could mean they actually don't go anywhere. So she says without a plan or at least some accountability to create a plan, they could stall.
This set of recommendations took over a year to come up with, and they're extremely general. There's nothing that you can measure progress against in terms of timing, money spent, people hired. There are a lot of very general statements.
She says that moving towards building virtual capacity would be a good idea, at least to try, but she says she doesn't have particularly high hopes of these recommendations going anywhere. The Department of Health and Social Services says that they expect to have more information about next steps in the fall, so we'll see what happens then.
Okay, thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
There's a renewed push to get the Prairie Creek mine in the NWT's Decho region operating. Executives from Honey Badger Silver, which owns the mine, were in Yellowknife earlier this week to update NWT ministers on their progress. The project involves constructing an all-season road through Nahanni National Park Reserve. The efforts have the backing of one First Nation in the area. The band manager, Nahanni Butte, says leadership supports reopening the mine.
Prairie Creek Mine, that remains one of our top 10 priorities for the band as well as the community. It has been a long-term dream of the community to see that project take off. And Honey Badger Silver, we have a very good relationship with.
The company bought the mine in April for $12 million from a U.S.-based private equity firm. It has plans for a quick turnaround that includes road construction in the spring, followed by production in the summer of 2027. Mineral deposits at the site include silver, zinc, lead, and germanium. Although the project doesn't include a bridge connecting Nahanni Butte to the road network, the company has offered its summer barge to resupply the local store. After several dog attacks in recent weeks, residents across Nunavut and Nunavik are saying enough is enough. CBC News has spoken to families with children who have been left scarred from recent encounters with loose dogs. A warning, this story contains some distressing audio. Here's Samuel Watt.
Haunting screams for help from a young girl being chased by a pack of dogs in Nunavut's smallest village, Alpaluk, earlier this month. The girl's family doesn't want to speak publicly, but they do want this video out there to demand accountability.
That evening was one of my worst fears.
Charlie Gordon is the father of another young girl who was also attacked by dogs in the community this month. These pictures show the aftermath.
She's scared, but she's still playing outside, so.
Gordon says loose dogs are a problem. He wants people to tie up their dogs, and he's calling on the municipality to build a dog pound to hold any strays. Alpaluk's Mayor Maggie Akpahatak says first they need someone to sign up to be the village's bylaw officer. As a resident herself, she's also scared.
I have always been scared of dogs, especially when I'm not in my community, because I don't know how mean or how friendly they may be. I don't know how they are even in my own hometown.
Akpahatak says the threats posed by loose dogs are Nunavik-wide. A 2020 study found 1 in 400 Nunavimmiut were potentially exposed to rabies between 2008 and 2017. The majority were linked to dogs. Just this week, someone was attacked by a dog in Iqaluit, Nunavut, but police say that dog was tied up. Samuel Watt, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Logically.
Avon Golagon.
I know.
I need a fresh start. I want to make our community a better place.
You guys, what is it?
It's gonna piss a lot of people off, Sam.
It's kind of the point.
I'm not going back.
And so the story continues.
You know that girl.
You gotta be careful around these people. They're not our friends.
To serve.
She possesses a raw talent that can't be taught.
I'll be with you every step of the way. First ever originally to play on the centre court of Wimbledon.
Don't let anyone tell you you're not good enough.
I won't.
What the hell is going on? You're here to play tennis. Watch out for him.
Tennis can't be the only thing that I love.
Yvonne Goolagong is one match point away from winning a Wimbledon crown.
Goolagong on CBC Gem.
Friday night, there will be a bond formed between and among you that will never be broken.
I have dreams, Tim.
Maybe one day our dreams can merge together.
I've seen 3 of my best friends get killed. This is my life.
I'm offering you everything I got. This is our time. You look at each other and you ask yourselves, gentlemen, what kind of a man am I?
Friday Night Lights on CBC Gem.
Did you kill him?
He's the #1 suspect.
I don't deserve this.
So you better watch your back, because I'm coming for you.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder.
Coronation Street on CBC and CBC Gem.
Want to get the most out of CBC News? Use the app or cbcnews.ca for live breaking news on the stories that matter to you. Whether it's local, national, or around the world, turn to CBC News.
U.S. President Donald Trump is taking aim at Canada again. He signed an executive order renaming Lake Ontario and repeated that the U.S. doesn't want cars made in Canada anymore. Ashley Burke has the latest on the fallout from trade talks and what it means for Canada's auto industry.
We're going to be changing the name of Lake Ontario.
Donald Trump continuing to taunt Canada, signing an executive order to rename Lake Ontario Lake America in the U.S.
The Canadian officials have treated us very badly. They're nasty people.
But the more serious blow, the pain the president wants to inflict on Canada's auto sector.
We're going to be doing tariffs on their cars that are coming in at a substantial level because we want to make the cars here.
It's the latest fallout after trade talks collapsed almost a week ago. Canada blames the U.S. for making last-minute changes to the deal. The U.S. says it's Canada that did that.
These were things they put in order to make it end. You know, when someone doesn't want the deal, they make up and say, oh, I'll do the deal with you only if you wear green. And you're like, but I'm not wearing green. You say, oh, sorry, it's not going to work out. It was nonsense.
Yesterday, Trump's top trade negotiator spoke exclusively to CBC News and said Canada raised concerns late that tariffs wouldn't be lowered on some pickup trucks as part of a deal.
And I understand why the Canadians, want to have as much as they can get, but we are focused on doing what's good for America.
He said what's good for America is building back its own auto manufacturing.
We believe that the process of globalization for the United States, of integrating with other economies, even our close neighbors with whom we trade a lot, we think that has had some negative effect.
In Canada, others say the two countries' auto sectors are so integrated, the U.S. is hurting itself.
Their objective may be to improve the U.S. position, but they are shooting at their own team, and it makes zero sense.
The government now facing questions about how it plans to keep the auto sector alive.
We've been helping the plants, the companies, and we will continue to do so.
The industry minister says she's traveling to Toronto to meet with the auto sector tomorrow morning. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Some Canadian police forces are expanding their use of AI public surveillance tools. Karen Pauls looks at where these cameras are being used and at the concerns they raise about your right to privacy.
These high-powered cameras are on 24/7, recording vehicles and people outside the U.S. consulate in Toronto and synagogues north of the city, raising questions for passers-by.
What's it tracking us for?
I don't like the camera.
It's a little concerning with the, privacy issues.
Critics say a network of automated license plate readers and AI-powered sensors can be used as a form of mass surveillance that erodes public privacy.
Software upgrades can be integrated instantaneously, practically. Police officers get really comfortable using all of that data, and it's hard to then put the genie back in the bottle.
Toronto police declined an interview, but in a statement wrote, "We currently have 5 static Cloud Runner cameras that are specifically deployed based on intelligence and risk assessments in areas with a recent history of violent activity. The system is solely used to identify vehicles linked to potential criminal activity. There is significant investigative benefit to the use of these cameras." These are the same cameras used recently in Montreal for a specific police investigation. And they're similar to the controversial flock safety cameras used in the U.S., some the target of vandalism over privacy concerns, as dozens of communities are now joining the deflock movement.
Technology and surveillance is occurring in ways that legislators, courts, and others never contemplated.
But this deputy chief says the use of AI in policing is a balancing act.
The criminal element is using technology to advance their efforts, and we need to do the same. Having said that, we want to proceed with caution.
The Winnipeg police are not currently using AI-enabled surveillance cameras, though he sees some value in that.
If we're looking for somebody we know is wearing a blue jacket who got on a transit bus, we may have to look through hours of video. AI technology could quickly go through that video and pinpoint every individual who came on with a blue sweater.
Police say they are mindful of privacy issues and data security, but AI is helping to spread some thin resources a little further. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Winnipeg.
In Gamo Hall Friendship Center in Inuvik NWT is getting some repairs done. It's one of the oldest structures in the community. All summer, a team of local carpenters has been replacing the building's foundation pads. The center was built 49 years ago from logs brought up the Mackenzie River. The foundation work will be finished by the fall. Staff say they're grateful for the repairs. It will allow them to continue important programming.
Carry on our traditions, teach our youth young so they could carry on those traditions, and it's so good to have that connection with the youth and the elders, to share that knowledge and pass their knowledge down to our youth.
This fall, Ingamo is planning sewing classes, baking, and drum dancing as ways to keep generations connected. Now, let's take a look at your weather forecast. And that is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, head to cbc.ca/north. Thank you for watching. We'll leave you tonight with drone images from Yellowknife. I'm Robert Holden. Have a good night.